It's our outfit. That's very nice.
We're on here.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Your business to provide when she's ready.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. So wonderful to see all of you here tonight. It is the beginning of a wonderful weekend here at Temple Tikvah, and that is due in major part to the person who is over my right shoulder here, Charlotte Faulkner, who tomorrow morning will be called to the Torah if she becomes a bar mitzvah. So we'll do a little celebrating of that tonight and a whole lot more tomorrow. And also delighted to be sharing the bima with Catherine Kitt, who many of you in our religious school know because she directs our Kol Simcha choir and teaches in the religious school, and to participate in our high holiday services as well. So it's really lovely. I want to just begin before we turn to the joy and the peace of Shabbat by just acknowledging that it's been a very difficult week for we Jews, and the tragic events of what's happening in Israel have touched many of us. I am not planning to dwell on that tonight, but I did want to invite us all to just use these moments of Shabbat to be together, to rest in Shabbat, to re-soul ourselves, as Mishamri teaches us, and to really find and get in touch with that sense of joy. So in that regard, page 128 reminds us that whenever we are together as one big sacred community, it is Tov and Na'im. Hine Matov. Page 121. As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. The facing page is where we begin with our Shabbat blessings as we welcome in Shabbat, first with light and kindling light. And so for that honor, I am delighted to invite Charlie up to the bima, along with her family, her mom and dad, Leslie and Robert, and her sister Bailey.
Asher Kishan Mitzvotav, Tikvah. No, Tikvah.
You're on the wrong team. It's okay. You're okay. Just read it. Charlotte, come here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad mikner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Amen. Let's all sing together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad mikner shel
And we turn the page 122, as we welcome Shabbat as well with the sweetness of the Shabbat fruit of the vine. To introduce that, would you like to read the English there?
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu mitzvotav v'atzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho, v'ahava u'ratzon ha'imanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah v'mikra kodesh. Zecher v'tzion Mitzrayim, ki v'anu v'chavta, v'otanu ki dasha, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, inkaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Nekatesh Shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim for that. You get a 7. You can share it if you'd like.
Oh, you can also.
May this weekend be filled with sweetness and light and joy for all of you. May it be the beginning of another leg of a beautiful Jewish journey. Shabbat shalom. You guys can sit down, but we still need you over there. Let's turn now to page 138. Feeling Shabbat with every song, every blessing, coming in just a little bit stronger. We turn now to these words of the Jewish mystics of ancient Tzfat. And with this poem, with this shir, we welcome Shabbat. When we get to the last verse, I'll offer you the opportunity to rise, face the door, and actually greet Shabbat coming to join us in her fullness. Let that feeling of Shabbat course through your body. Let it bring a smile to your face. And please take a moment now and turn and share that smile with those in your midst. Wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
So you want to do different? You want to do different to connect it?
We just connected to the live stream.
Okay. Is that even
We are going to continue now on page 146 with the words of the Baruch. Asher B'Divaro Ha'ariv Ha'arim, V'Chokhmah Potech She'arim, U'Vitmunah Meshaneh Etim, U'Machalif Et Hazmanim, U'Mesader Et HaKochavim, B'Mishmorotehem B'Rakia Kirtzono, Borei Yom V'Layla, Kolel Or Mipnei Choshek, V'Choshek Mipnei Or, U'Ma'avir Yom U'Mevi Layla, U'Ma'avdil Bein Yom U'Bein Layla, Adonai Tzivaot Shemo, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'ariv Ha'arim. Page 150. Ahavat Olam, everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Asher Anohi Mitzavecha Hayom Al Levavecha V'Shnatam Levanecha V'Dibarta Bam V'Shitzecha B'Beitecha U'Lechtecha B'Derech U'Kshokbecha U'Kumecha U'Kshartam Le'ot Al Yadecha V'Hayu L'Todefot Bein Einecha U'Ksavtam Avizizot beitecha uvisharecha, Laman tizkeru va'asitem ekol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim l'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'hiot lachem l'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
So in just a moment, we will turn to our Song of Freedom, page 158, Nichamocha. This weekend, as some of you may know, as Reproductive Rights Shabbat. Many of our congregations are marking this time with study and prayers of different kinds. I just offer up this little piece of information for you. The Central Conference of American Rabbis, as well as other groups in the Reform movement, have written resolutions about the idea of reproductive rights. And I'm going to share just a very small piece of the CCAR resolution. The Reform movement has long opposed government interference with the reproductive rights of all individuals, particularly women and pregnant people, including the poor, minors, queer people, and women of color who are disproportionately affected by attacks on reproductive rights. As CCAR leadership recently argued, Reform rabbis do not ask that Jewish law be enshrined in the laws of the United States or any state. We demand, however, that individuals in this free country be permitted to make their own choice with regard to their reproductive health and capacities. Jewish law, halacha, recognizes abortion as a legitimate and necessary form of basic health care for people at all stages of their reproductive capacity. As we turn to the words of Micha Mocha, celebrating the freedom that our ancestors gained when they crossed the Sea of Reeds, we too pray that we can continue to have the freedom to make our own choices about our own bodies and the ability to care for them in health and with the health resources that they need. Turn to Micha Mocha. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha le'edav hakodesh, Norah tehilot Tosef. Joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace, we pray, is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, Apores Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, Ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ve'hiru b'nei Yisrael odi le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ubayom hashli Shabbat vayinapash, Shabbat vayinapash, Shabbat vayinapash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. We are invited to pray as if everything depended on God, but to act as if everything depended on us. Let's turn together now to page 164 as we turn to prayer that may, we pray, solidify our actions. Please rise as you're able for Tikvah. Adonai sefatatita ufia itahilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor, HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'onei HaKol, Ve'zoker Chasedo V'imahot, U'mevid Geulah L'ivnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Hain, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mekayeach Kol Hasara Ve'Oshia, Masjid Ruach, U'Marin Hashem, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mekayeh HaKol Be'Rakamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'Rofeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayeh Emunato, Ishenei Alpha, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Midom Elah, Melech Remit, U'Mekayeh, U'Matziach Yeshua, Leman atah l'hayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'kol yom hallelujah selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Let's join together on the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. And we'll turn together to our prayer of thanksgiving on page 177. I'm going to just share one piece of gratitude for me, and maybe you have others you'd like to share here or at the Oneg. I left my house with a Shabbat table full of my daughter, my husband, and my stepdaughter and son-in-law, and 3 grandchildren, and my sister and brother-in-law as well. And it was just such an amazing thing to have us all spontaneously gathered. I mean, not so spontaneously, the California crew actually had to fly to be with us, but all of us together. And Marty was not, as some of you know, not able to join us when we went to California to meet our newest grandson, Oberon. So this was his first opportunity to do so. And just my heart is very filled with joy right now. Anybody have anything else that you are grateful for that you'd like to share, Daniela?
My youngest son is engaged.
Mazel tov. That's wonderful news. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Doesn't have to be big. Yes, Leslie.
We're incredibly grateful to be celebrating with our daughter together since Robert was very sick this week.
What a joy to see you all here and the whole wonderful extended family you brought with you. It's great. Welcome all. Thank you. Yes, Rabbi.
Glad to have a few days down here to see friends and family and to be on this side of the beam.
I'm glad to see you there on that side of the beam or wherever you choose to be for that matter. Awesome. With all of that, let's read these words on the top of page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, kadosh shemcha u'echad amen. silence for each of our own private prayers. Right. Don't know, that was our Kol Simcha choir, our awesome group of students who bring joy every time they're open house. Friends, at this point in our service, I'd like us to think about people who are ailing, who aren't feeling well, are suffering from physical illnesses, or are heartsick, or are in need of our prayers for healing of any kind. I'm going to read the names before me and invite you to add names of others. And on this night, when we are maybe feeling a bit of just that all of the Jewish people need a little bit of a sense of healing from what's happening, we can take these words in for ourselves too. But from our own community, we pray for the health, the healing, the well-being of Jamie Lippman-Abish, Eileen Amdacht, Ellen Bassett, Benjamin Menachem Frank, Carolyn Barone, Jane Bernstein, Arnold Block, Dennis Brenner, Jack Kazis, Nora Correa, Luciano DeRico, Toby Domash, Pamela Dorman, Susan Zietzik, Janet Ewing, Kelly Fink, Arthur Fisher, Judy Fisher, Michelle Fisk, Evan Foster, Barbara Goldberg, Sandra Goldberg, Florence Goldring, Stephen Goldstein, Jean Gormley, Elise Grace, Lee Hawley, Marilyn Heckler, Ruby Hirsch, Enid Hirsch, Matthew A. Hood, Dacia Horowitz, Phyllis Horn, Stephen Israel, Toby Israel, Christine Jacobson, Danette Jamal, Louis Kaufman, Rita Kimmel, Tatiana Kotunyuk, Esther Krachevsky, Sandy Lay, Gail Levy, Robert Mandel, Robert Mannix, Barbara Massey, Susan Miller, Ashley Morante, Adam Morante, Michal Zahava, Bat Miriam, Miriam Shulamit, Bat Bela, Patrice Newman, Nora Tzipora, Bat Ivana, Andrew O'Donnell, Sophia Palladino, Esther Parker, Galinda Pescatori, Helga Pfeffer, Ben Pilch, Rabbi Lester Polonsky, Dean Powell, Carol Ryder, Jan Rhodes, Julie Rosenberg, Laura Rosenspan, Renee Rosenthal, Jamie Rudick, Sylvie Rubel, Adele Schoner, Hannah Rachel, Bat Miriam, Charlotte Miriam Schnupp, Edmund Steiner, Faye Strobel, Rhoda Strobel, Tova Bat Shifra, Arlene Iris Wisson, and Jeff Young. And to their names we add others. If you'd like to share a name with us aloud, just lift your hand and I'll invite you to share that name with us as we go forward. Cheryl? Vivian? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Arlene.
Karen Wilson.
Dan?
Iris Wilson.
Phyllis?
Gloria Dahl.
Susan Freeborg and Sharon Solomon.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniela.
Matthew Prince and Stephen Ross Blossom.
Thank you. And on this side of the sanctuary. Holy One of blessing be with all of those people whose names we've shared with each other, as well as those we hold in our hearts. Bring each of them, bring all of us to healing of body, of mind, and of spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeach Olam. Praise you, eternal one, the source from whence healing flows.
Yisheberach Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Yisheberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the Lord who blessed our mothers, may the ones who blessed our fathers,
So just a brief word about the portion of the Torah that we are in right now. I'm not going to say a whole lot, because if you want to hear some more good teaching, I invite you, of course, to join us tomorrow morning. The two Torah portions that I read over these 2 weeks, Parshat Yitro and Parshat Mishpatim, recount how the Jewish people met God at Mount Sinai. For the details about that, come tomorrow. You'll hear those verses and Charlie's teaching about them. But you should also know that this section of the Torah illustrates not only how the people met God, that is, the experience of revelation that we all had, but also the content of that meeting. Because it's in these two portions, Yitro and Mishpatim, that we are given the first real significant chunk of mitzvot, of the laws, that we are to follow as a people. Some of them are quite familiar to us, the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 Commandments, as they are sometimes known, which many of us could recite. I'm not quizzing anyone, but those are the ones we know. But there are others that are a lot less obvious. I'm not going to review all of them tonight, but in this week, where we have seen some of the worst of what humanity can do, I think it's useful to call to mind just a couple of them, which give us some more positive view of humanity and a more aspirational idea of what we can do and what we're capable of doing. So here's one. This is Exodus 22, verses 26 and 27, which reads in the English, "If you take your neighbor's cloak and pledge, return it before the sun sets. It is the only available clothing. It is what covers the skin. And what else? Shall your neighbor sleep? Therefore, if that person cries out to me, says God, I will pay heed, for I am compassionate." That is the whole quote from the Torah. Now, if you were to say that this was a law, you might have stopped at that first sentence, right? If you take your neighbor's cloak and pledge, return it before the sun sets. That's the legal piece, right? But the Torah continues to give us the rest of the story, to give us a chance to imagine what it would be like to be somebody without clothing. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, of blessed memory, calls this law with a human face. After all, the actual law is about an economic transaction, right? Somebody borrows money and gives the person who lends them the money a piece of clothing as collateral, right? But that's not all that the Torah tells us. And writes Rabbi Jessica Kirshner, in strictly legal terms, the lender might be in his rights to hold the pledge. But as decent society depends on more than legal rights, we're taught to notice and factor in the possibility that this person is poor and that this person needs the cloak to make it through the night. What I learned from this is that it's not only important to follow the letter of the law, but it's important to look in the face of the person with whom you are having a transaction, whether it's an economic transaction or dealing with property or anything else. It's not just about the action itself, it's about human dignity. It's about having empathy. Not easy to do all the time. And there is a question that's raised sometimes and answered just a tiny bit in this portion, or at least there's a piece of an answer to this question. How do you find that face of humanity, not just in the person you have a business transaction with, not just with your friend or relative or neighbor, but how about in the enemy? How do we respond to the one who has committed a crime, maybe even an inhuman crime against us? And so for that, I just offer you the words of Exodus 23:5, which you might say has nothing to do with that question, but I claim it does. Exodus 23:5 says, if you see your enemy's donkey sagging under its burden, you shall not pass it by. You shall surely help it. Now you may be familiar with this verse because we've quoted it in other contexts as an example of the principle of what's known as Tsa'ar Ba'alei Chayim, which is a principle of avoiding harming innocent animals. In other words, even if the humans are fighting with each other, the animals shouldn't have to suffer. So if you see your donkey, a donkey, even if it's your enemy's donkey, that's struggling under its burden, you can't let that stay that way. You should help. You should help it. That's one piece of the law. But there's a more challenging aspect of this law, too. And that piece invites us to consider the humanity of our enemy. Rabbi Jerry Sirota, a peace activist, cites the work of, that I haven't yet read, but the work of Rabbi Mark Gopin to explain this. In Gopin's book, Between Eden and Armageddon, he says that this idea of helping your enemy's donkey is a strategy to build peace. By performing this mitzvah, you create an experience of what he calls cognitive dissonance. In other words, it causes the enemy to question the assumption of conflict. If the enemy had seen us before as being completely against him or her, now the enemy could say, oh, this person cares about something. Maybe respecting property, but maybe also suggesting the willingness to work together to help both the enemy and the struggling donkey. Not easy to do, not easy to even aspire to this in all cases, especially if the enemy has done something that we feel so terribly wrong. But, argue the peace builders in our community, if we can do this consistently over time, things can change, attitudes can change, trust can begin to be built, and maybe over the long term, solidarity and friendships. Now I know that saying this tonight can feel very far from a reality where we are, and I'm not saying that these are things that we can necessarily apply right away. And indeed, it's worth noting that that line in the question that says, you shall surely release the burden with your enemy, is sometimes translated to say that that action has to be done together with the enemy. In other words, you can't just be the one helping out. It has to be a joint effort together. If the problem is hatred between people, then the efforts of only one party towards resolution won't ever be enough. It's only when both people work together that meaningful change is possible. So the law, I think, is not asking us to be superhuman, but it is asking us to be open to the possibility of stretching out a hand, of going beyond our comfort zone, of imagining and praying for a time for peace. As I said before, it may be too soon for that kind of cooperation. We may not have a partner to do it with. But in these days when we are feeling anger and grief at senseless murder and at unnecessary destruction and lives tragically torn apart, I, for one, don't want to be overcome by that anger and grief. I, for one, don't want to turn only to vengeance. Let's take a look at these words. Let's hold out the ideal of what we could be and strive for it. In Avot de Rabbi Natan, we read these words: who is the hero of heroes? One who makes an enemy into a friend. Someday, let this be so. May it be so. Can we do that so? We're going to turn back in our prayer book now to our closing prayers. Please join us on page 586 and invite you to rise for a minute.
Shabbat l'adon hakol, lateit gedula lioseh breshit, shebunu teshamayim yoseh haaretz, u'shavik ha'ramon b'shamayim ha'al, u'shkinat u'tzorek ha'pnei ha'ramim, u'Eloheinu Echad, v'anachnu orim, U'mishakavim u'motim, lifnei melech malkei hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom ha'hu, v'yom ha'hu, Adonai Echad, U'shemo, U'shemo, U'shemo Echad.
May be seated. Our thoughts turn now to those who departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And before I turn to the names that we will read officially to say Kaddish for them, we join with the Jews and all righteous people around the globe with heavy hearts in remembering the passing of Kafir and Ariel Vivas, the presumed death of Shira, their mother, Shiri Vivas, and also of Odette Lipschitz. From our own temple community in this recent period of mourning, the period of Shoshim, with love we remember Felicia Volkman, remembered by her sister Rosalind Trump. Carlo Viola, remembered by Matthew and Ben Goldberg, Christine Viola Goldberg and Frank Goldberg and their families. And Norma Brooks, remembered by her daughters Elaine Brooks, Lois Braithman, Judy Brooks, Diane Lando, and by Catherine and Nicholas Colios, and by their families. This week as well, we mark the yard sites of the following beloved. With love, we now recall Shirley Bach, Sister Milton Rosenberg, Esther Gelfand, mother of Robert Gelfand, Betty Hirsch, mother of Muriel Adler, Ruth Hollander, sister of Doris S. Brown, and mother of Andrew Hollander, Shirley Koga, mother of Mark Flanshirsch, Lieb Cormus, father of Abe Cormus, Fanny Mandel, mother of Felice Charter, Adolf Mendel, grandfather of Ruth Cooperman, Saul Miller, father of Lynn Cohen, Moishe Pitt, the husband of Amy Pitt, Arthur Gozell, uncle of Leslie Kisner, Esther Rosen, grandmother of Dean Hernan, Mildred Rosen, mother of Susan Schneider. Lori Schoenfeld, sister of Jerry Lepselter. Louis Singer, uncle of Madeline Wolf. Morris Sion, father of Madeline Wolf. Manuel Seufer, father-in-law of Jennifer Seufer and father of Scott Seufer. Malika Stamboli, mother of Jack Kazis, mother-in-law of Arlene. Max Weisfeld, father of Daniel Weisfeld. And Edna Wolf, mother-in-law of Madeline Wolf. If there is anybody who'd like to share with us the name of someone else you are recalling this evening, I invite you to do so now. Cheryl. Thank you. Others. Barbara.
Phyllis Bowman.
Thank you. Sifra Nam Livracha, may the memories of our beloved and of the righteous everywhere continue to bless us all. We turn together to page 598. Let us rise as one community to remember them all. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yiruteh v'yamliv malchuteh, v'chayekon v'yomekon, v'chayek kol Beit Yisrael, v'agalah v'zman kariv yimru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mivarach ve'olam la'me'yamaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbahar v'yitlamam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal she'ed k'shab b'richu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbekata v'nechemota Damirami olam v'yimru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'yimru amen Osei shalom b'molav Uya osei shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'al kol Yisrael Tevah V'yimru, amen. Usei shalom b'roma, uyasei shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru. Amen. Please be seated. Except for you. Come on over here for a sec. So, I have words I'm going to share with you tomorrow, so I'm not going to say a whole lot. But Catherine is not actually going to be here tomorrow. And I know that you have spent a lot of time with her, both in religious school and in Kol Simcha. And so she has a special song of blessing that she would like to share with you tonight. So a little kind of added bonus and preview of tomorrow. So you can just listen. You don't even have to sing.
And by the way, the song was written by my brother. So it's a very special song that he wrote for bar and bat mitzvahs.
Taking your place in an enduring line. This is the day you will stand up to say, our tradition is mine. You will soon read the Torah. It's been passed on to you. blessing and prayer. You're the promise of the people, a blessing and a
We turn to tonight's beam officer for announcements. Julie, thank you.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
I don't know what to say about this beautiful service tonight. From Rabbi to Catherine, who was singing, I was crying before. And of course, Charlotte, mazel tov to you and to your family on this wonderful occasion. I cannot wait for tomorrow to see what you do. I know you're going to be fantastic. The service, by the way, is at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning and will also be live streamed. So however you can be there, please be there. Torah study will be both in person and via Zoom only, beginning at 9 tomorrow as well. Choir rehearsal on the Mark and Cardio Corps and more will meet at their regular times this week. The third session of our Paint to Prayer project with artist in residence Jennifer Levine will be held on Sunday, March 2nd, and every temple member is invited to participate in creating a work of art that we will proudly display in our temple. Also on March 2nd, the religious school will be holding the rescheduled child naming, thanks to that snowstorm, that rescheduled child naming ceremony and stuffy naming project in the sanctuary. On Saturday, March 8th, Rabbi Scheinberg will lead a lunch and learn and discuss the month of Adar and Purim, using Rabbi Dahlia Marx's book From Time to Time as a jumping off point. Lunch is at 11, please bring your own. Program is at 11:30, in person and on Zoom, and there will be dessert and coffee served afterward. Also on Saturday, March 8th, the Temple Tikvah is looking for volunteers. I'm looking at all my religious school families to help set up for our religious school's Purim Carnival, which will be that Sunday. There will be a family Havdalah service and pizza dinner for all who attend, and the children will be making their own hamantashen to bring home and bake for Purim. And speaking of Purim, we will hope that you will wish your fellow congregants a happy Purim by donating to our Purim virtual card. So please see the update, as always, in the weekly update, the information in the weekly update. Looking ahead, Brotherhood is organizing a group from the temple to attend a special Israeli hockey event on March 23rd. And Sisterhood is having their Women's Seder on Sunday, March 30th at 12:30. All the women of the temple are invited, their daughters, granddaughters, sisters, and friends are invited to participate, and the RSVP information is in the update. And as I've said a million times already, as always, check the weekly update for additional information for these and other events, RSVP, and virtual links. Once again, Shabbat Shalom, and Mazel Tov to you. And to you.
Thank you, Julie. So after our closing song and our hamotzi here on the Bima, please do join us upstairs in our Harris Beaver Auditorium where we can have a little food together and see a little celebratory cake. Did you pick a good flavor? Excellent. Come on over here with us. We're all going to turn to page 649 for the journeys we take. Physical, symbolic ones in our Jewish world, ones anywhere. Let us bless ourselves for the Tefillah, with the Tefillat Haderach, top of page 649.
May we be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen.
Want to put your arms around someone or stand? Feel free to do that.
Amen. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing.
Go ahead and take that cover off. And we conclude with Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi